The boss of the UFC, Mr. Dana White, is with me right now. You heard Conor McGregor talking right there, Dana. He always sounds like that. Is there something a little extra special for this match?
I don't know if he always sounds like that. This is the darkest press conference I've ever been a part of. You know, when you talk about these guys truly not liking each other, if the incident that happened here in New York, there's no more evidence than that. I mean, and today was pretty dark press conference, I felt. The bad blood is, and after everything that Conor said to Khabib today, you know, he held himself. He kept his cool. He held his composure, but you could tell that Khabib was boiling inside.
Refresh everyone's memory as to where the animosity comes from between these two, particularly what led to Conor McGregor attacking the bus that Khabib Nurmagomedov was on a few months ago.
So, to the best of my knowledge, you know, there's a fighter named Artem who is Conor McGregor's best friend, and Khabib and his guys cornered him over some political stuff that's going on in Russia, and Khabib slapped him. Conor McGregor found out that he slapped him. He jumped on a private plane loaded with a bunch of his friends, flew to New York.
From Ireland. From Ireland. Let's not forget that.
From Ireland. And got into the Barclays Center in Brooklyn as soon as all the fighters were getting on the bus, and Conor and his guys tried to attack the bus. And our security, obviously, you know, these guys, the thing was wrapping up. They were all getting on the bus and driving out. So they did the best that they could in the situation that they were in. And Conor ended up getting in trouble here in New York legally. He went through it, got through, you know, his legal troubles here. And here we are with the fight now. This is real bad blood. These guys really don't like each other. This is different than any other situation I've ever been in, not just with Conor, but with any fighter.
Is this the biggest fight in UFC history in your estimation?
Well, we just looked at the concurrent views for this thing just through UFC.com and Fight Pass. This thing, today's press conference beat Maymac.
Maymac. Excuse me? Maymac. Who's Maymac? Be specific. What are you saying? Mayweather
versus McGregor. Yeah, it beat the biggest number we did on that world tour. This press conference today beat it.
Now, even for the non-UFC fan, everybody is interested in this fight. And to most observers, Khabib is the favorite in this fight. Explain why that is.
Yeah, you know, he's 26-0. He's undefeated. Stylistically, many people believe that he possesses all the tools that are Conor McGregor's weakness. And, you know, obviously the odds makers think that he is a big favorite.
They talk about Conor McGregor, and we're talking about the length of time he's been out of UFC action, 693 days, if I remember correctly. Last time we saw Conor McGregor, he lost a boxing match to Floyd Money Mayweather. Why did he take this fight first? This is his first fight back in the UFC. No warm-up at all, Dana. Why did he take it, and why did you allow it?
He took this fight because that's who Conor McGregor is. Conor McGregor wants to come right back, win his belt, take on the best, or who's perceived as the best, which is Khabib right now. He's 26-0. He's undefeated. He's never lost a round in the UFC, and that's why people love Conor McGregor. And, you know, and all my dealings with McGregor, that guy fights who he wants to fight. And he's always going after the best, and that's why he's one of the most famous athletes on earth.
But, Dana, there's a lot of people that want to do what they want to do in the UFC. You're the boss. You don't necessarily allow it all the time, but you allow this to take place. And this is but Conor McGregor is box office. He loses this fight. I still think he'll be box office. But nevertheless, don't you worry about it compromising you in some way in terms of your agenda to continue to build this sport the way you have so adroitly built it?
Stephen A., that's the UFC, man. We make the fights that matter. We make the fights that the fans want to see, and we always put the best against the best. It's nothing different here.
Conor McGregor, do you have some concerns about him in this fight? I know we all know he's a knockout artist, but you know UFC, you know MMA. What would be your concern, your concern for Conor McGregor in this fight?
Not just Conor McGregor, anybody who fights Khabib, it's will he get you down? Will he get on top of you? And when he does, For 26 fights, nobody's ever got out from underneath him. The question is, can Conor McGregor?
Do you expect Conor McGregor's elevated boxing skills, because you had to learn something fighting Floyd Money Mayweather, do you expect that to be some sort of advantage for him in this fight?
Well, his hands are always an advantage in any fight. McGregor has great hands. He hits hard with both hands. He also has great kicks. And, if he hits you, he hurts you. And when he hurts you, he knocks you out.
Last question on a different matter. John Bones Jones, an individual most of us consider the best we've ever seen in the UFC. He's eligible to come back and fight. When can we expect to see him?
Early 2019. He'll definitely be back in early 19.
Against who? Because that's important to me, Dana. Against two, because just like you had Conor going against Khabib, what about John Bones Jones against somebody, dare I say, Daniel Cormier? How about that?
He will come back against somebody tough and somebody in the top 5. Absolutely 100%.
Top 5? Why not number 1? What's wrong with number 1, Dana?
Why not?
Why not?
Nothing's wrong with number 1. It might be number 1. It might be the champion himself. Daniel Cormier is the light heavyweight champion and the heavyweight champion. So we'll see where Bones wants to fight, and we'll figure it out.
Okay, I'm sure you will. Dana White, appreciate you, buddy. Thanks so much. Looking forward to this one.
Likewise.
The bad blood seems real. We saw a Khabib start out cool, calm, collected, then changed. What do you think about Conor's tactics in this?
Tony, I love what you said. I love how you led into that. This was amazing. This was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in mixed martial arts. Listen, the punches and the kicks are not enough. They haven't been enough for a very long time. We have to know why. We have to know that these guys are fighting for something, for a reason. I thought Conor was extremely compelling because of his honesty. He simply said, and I know this is brash to talk about money, but he said, I got plenty of money, and he's telling the truth. He said, I quit fighting for money. I'm fighting because I don't like, and he stood up and he pointed, and he said, you little rat face, and he went on. Khabib was out of his water here. Khabib didn't know what to do. It was like when I'm debating with Ariel Helwani. I imagine that's a hard spot for Ariel to know full well I'm with my intellectual superior here, but I'm being paid and the time's still going, and I'm just going to have to sit here and look like a doofus for a while. And that's not a knock on Ariel. This is a reality of the situation. Khabib was in way over his head. Conor McGregor is in a class of his own. He is a master on the microphone. He knows when the cameras are rolling. He knows how to sell. But Tony, I would offer to you, he simply knows when to tell the truth. And the guy is fighting for a reason. And I don't say anything wrong with that.
Joe, we're taking a look at the stare down right then between them. Dana in the middle, holding them back. You know, Conor instigating. They're getting close. Joe, what's that moment like? You've been in that, you know?
Tony, it's incredible. I mean, this is incredible theater right here. You know, when you're watching it and you're really seeing two guys being disciplined. Conor being disciplined to deliver what it is we are hoping for, to go out there and be the entertainer, to let us know, to mark October 6th on our calendar. That's what Conor's doing. Khabib, on the other hand, is also staying disciplined, to be a gentleman, to be a sportsman, to stay within his lane, to hope that Conor goes too far and looks like a buffoon and somehow crashes the car that he's driving in. I don't think Conor ever went too far. I don't think Khabib came quite far enough from an entertainer standpoint, but I thought that this was a wonderful moment.
Yeah, Khabib just left them yelling. Conor's yelling at Khabib's team right now, holding his two belts right there, posing in front of the cameras, loving that camera. Now, Chael, do you think either fighter gained any mental advantage? Because, like you said, Khabib was cool, chill, trying to, kind of using that to get under his skin. But then you saw Conor. Do you think either gained any mental advantage in this?
I will tell you that I think that the mental gamesmanship that we often talk about right here on ESPN and other sports channels do it too, I think there's too much made of that. I can tell you as somebody who is credited for a master of that art, I never really felt anything. When I saw my opponent break or I saw myself get inside his head, I never saw it as a physical advantage. The rules were still the same. The time limit was still the same. And the three judges are still going to have to see me touch that guy more times than he touches me. I think a little bit too much is made of it, but I will make the point to you one more time. It is important to care less. And I'm not saying to be careless. I'm saying to care less. Both guys are going to care. And whoever cares a little bit more is at the disadvantage. The same as in any negotiation or in any relationship. The guy that can care a little bit less is more important. Conor came out here and it was an act. It was by design. But he wanted to look as though this doesn't matter, as though Khabib doesn't even qualify to be in there with him. Conor brought out 2 titles, 2 belts, of which neither belonged to him, and then accused Khabib of bringing out the fake belt. How could you possibly do this? How could you show yourself with the fake belt? Khabib didn't know how to respond because the level of ridiculousness was so insane, he never saw that coming. I thought that was a point of brilliance. I will also tell you, as far as gamesmanship and politics go, Khabib made a sucker's mistake, which is he continually asked Conor questions. He continually said, no, I want to ask you a question. Conor is not under any subpoena here, okay? He is not under oath. He has no responsibility to have to answer those questions, and he didn't. And he made Khabib look like a fool. Look, if you ever explaining, you are losing. That is a rule in politics, and this is nothing more than a verbal gamesmanship battle. And Conor McGregor owned that stage.
He sold me. He sold me. Now, Conor Chael is the underdog in Vegas. What's your prediction come October 6th?
Okay, not for long. First segment, I'm going to predict he won't be the underdog for long. Now, there's no prop bet you can make at that, but I do believe that Conor will go off as a favorite. Conor has been in over his head, at least on paper, on a couple of occasions, including, and first of which, against Jose Aldo, who had not lost in a decade. When the Irish flew to Las Vegas and they went up to that pay window, those lines changed. I suspect they're going to do the exact same thing, and Conor will actually go off as the favorite. Listen, I think that he's in a little bit over his head here. I do not believe what many will tell you, that the most well-rounded fighter is the best fighter. Throughout the history of mixed martial arts, we have seen guys that are a master of one discipline. See George St. Pierre, who's largely recognized as the greatest to have ever done it. He takes everybody down with the same takedown. He holds them down the same way, and he grinds out a 5-round decision the same way. I think that level of discipline is also what Khabib has, and while he can do a little bit of everything, he's a master of taking you down, wearing you out, and keeping you in that position, which judges ultimately, should it go the distance, tend to like.